Let's go. Okay. Hello, my fellow Patreons. And welcome to this January Patreon tutorial. We will do some wire simulation stuff with, of course, Houdini plus Octane. No, wait, Redshift. And of course, we can do some Octane rendering, etc. in the future too, if you want that. So just leave a comment or write me. First of all, thanks for the support and in the last year, and I'm really looking forward for 2023. I reached I think 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and yeah, it's been pretty cool and I love it. Appreciate it. So let me just show you here a little frame that I did. Yeah, and now it's gone. Wait, the bloom is way too high. So what we will do today, of course you could also do something like this, but we will do some like wire simulation, so you can already see it here. So we will do this bandy simulation inside of Houdini, and after that we will render it, etc. The cool thing is you can really adapt this kind of workflow or simulation, for example, around objects, a pillar, or any other kind of geometry. But I also like it as a kind of solo thing. Just go a little bit forward here, so it's like really twisted, and just refresh our camera, so we can get like, I think, a lot of cool style frames. This kind of setup. And I also did one close-up camera. But yeah, we will figure that out, of course. What I want to do is just disable all those lights. Disable the background. We'll do a separate a new one. And okay, recording, everything set. Let's disable the lights. And let's get, of course, later 2 new cameras too. So I experimented a little bit, and I kind of like that one. I don't know what that is currently. I think that was a growth setup. But we can do that in the future. So I will give you like a really quick rundown, and then we will build it up. What I did here, basically scattered some points, so nothing fancy. Connected those, resampled those, pinned those with, oh my god, with a group node on the points. Yeah. After that, I simulated them. Like that. And a resample, then the wire stuff. Basically some sweeps. And of course, what you could do, could throw like a subdivide down to get even higher resolution for better close-up. Yeah, 5 million. That's fine, I guess. And yeah, then you're basically finished. What you also can do, or what we will do, build a simple mask setup. But go for something like that and introduce a different color for each separated wire. Or you could go for the mask and introduce an inherited attribute for each wire to then play with, for example. So I find that that's pretty cool too. And it kind of reminds me of those sugar candies. I don't know how they are called specifically. Those right here. Yeah, nice drawing. Okay, let's start. So first of all, we need our points. And the cool thing is you can scatter those on basically any surface as long as you can rotate the other object or surface. Of course, we will group them and then we will rotate them. So let's start with a circle. And for the circle, let's stretch it a little bit. That's fully up to you, so we can make a few different simulations and we'll have a look how that will impact our wires. After the circle, we'll need points. And the points we will get with a scatter node. Of course, what you also could do is place down an add node and delete geometry and keep the input points. So that could also be a method if you want to do that. I think that would be also interesting. And then of course you could specifically control the amount of points that you want to have. But in that case, let's stick with the scatter here. Let's see, I used 15 here. Let's use, I don't know, let's use 10 points for now. Then what I want to do, each point is now scattered on our disk or on our stretched circle. And I want to give them an ID attribute. And we can do that with the enumerate node. And let's get that on points. And now you can see when you will go to your geometry spreadsheet, you can see the index. And for each point, we basically got a ptnum attribute. So we got an ID attribute called index. You can also change that to ID or connect. I don't know. That's fully up to you. So we now got an ID attribute sitting on our points. Now what we can do, we can transform those points. Have a look, okay, 5. In the z-axis, and we can group those. Group, we want points. And with this point group, we can then transform our points to rotate. So let's just call that group grp transform ETS. So those are our left side points, basically. Or yeah, we can also do it later. So we don't exactly need a group, but we could use it for shading for distance attribute. But yeah, let's just keep the group here. And what I want to do is I want to merge both. So I want a null node here. That will be our in PTS. Those are our initial points. So init, and those are our separate points. And what I want to do, I want to just merge them. And I want to match them. So let's get a match size. To just transform it and keep it a little bit more procedural, so it will always stay in the center. Now what we want to do, we want to add those. We want to make a line out of that. So we'll place down an add node, go to polygon by group and then by attribute, and we will insert or type our ID attribute in here. And now you can see those points are now connected with a polyline. And what we can do, we can place a connectivity attribute down here. So we can work later with that. Cool, so we got our connectivity attribute. Now we want to resample to a given resolution. I don't know what I did here. Yeah, 5. Just also do that. And we can toggle on the curve view attribute, but I think we will need to recalculate our curve view attribute later. But now you can see we've got our connected lines. The cool thing is we can stretch those and it will stay procedural. So if you want longer lines, for example, we can add or subtract lines with our total count of our scatter node. So this is also cool. Let's go for, I like odd numbers, let's go for 11. So now we will place 2 point groups. So we will get a group expression node. And I already got a setup here, group endpoints, to work a little bit faster for client work, etc. But grp, let's just call those left ETS underscore pin. Let's retype that because we only need, I will make 2 groups. So one group will called group left points pin. Let's just pin PTS. And our vex expression, so we will place the group on points. The group name is $OS, so the operator's node name. Basically, this will be our group name. And the vex operation will be curve view. So add curve view. So we will need to calculate it here. Add curve view equals 1. And this will group the left side. Now we can copy this node and make add curve view equals 0. And we will call that right side. So after that, we can place our null, and in between, let's call it baselines. And in between, we can place the transform, right? Transform node. And with this node, we can choose, for example, the right side. And we can rotate those points. So what I want to do, I want to rotate them on the y-axis. Oh wait, that's wrong. Is that okay? And what I want to do is to type in here a little command. For example, another command, a little expression. Let me just check the time. Okay, we got plenty of time. That's nice for look dev, etc. For example, $T. And now you can see when we play, you can barely see it, but our geometry and our points will basically rotate. To exaggerate that a little bit, we can just add a multiplier, for example, times 10. Yeah, I think that's better. Or you can go times 20, or you can, I think I did here, yeah, a Bézier. So what you also could do to get a little, I don't know, speed ramp, etc. in the later animation. Let's go here and we will set a keyframe on the first point. And then we will just rotate that, I don't know, like 400 degrees. Alt click again, another keyframe. And now select your node and press Shift Alt F to start our animation editor for this specific node here. So you can then select the node and yeah, play with your animation curves. And what I want to do, so quick rundown here. Here's your channel list. This channel list will represent basically your node animation parameters. Then you've got your filters if you want to filter layers, if you want to filter specific axes or rotations. Then we have here the value, so we can also play with the value here. So I want 400 degrees, for example. And this is currently a Bezier curve, so we'll starting slow, ramping up, and slowing down again. So starting, slowing down again. What you can do, you can just press Ctrl A and then select down here a variety of presets. So for example, not a constant, for example, linear. So that will be just a linear rotation without any ramp up or ramp down, speed ramp, etc. on your animation curve. Then there are ease in, for example. So that could be a cool thing because we are starting slowly and then ramping up. There is of course also a ease out. So we are starting fast and then we will ease out gently. So we will getting slower. So yeah, there are a good variety to choose from, or you can also do it, of course, custom. So go here for linear and then select here the top handle and start to play with that. For example, starting really fast, be something like that. That would be a fast rotation, and then getting really slow could also be a cool thing. And the cool thing is you can then retime, for example, you could retime your simulated animation later with a retime node to then match, for example, this kind of ease in or ease out, speed ramp, etc. Because, for example, for the animation we will do in a second, that could cause intersection problems because of the speed. So what we can do, just give it a pause, go to linear, and I think we are fine for the simulation. So now what I want to do, I want the vellum hair. Place that down. And now let's visualize the thickness, and you can already see we can get it a little bit higher. I will just set it to uniform. Just do it like that. That should be fine. And I think I did not change a lot here. Damping ratio, etc. But what we need to do, what is important, our pinpoints. So what we need to do is to pin basically both points. Just do that. So pin left, that would be those, and pin right. Match animation. And after that, we can place down our vellum solver. And let's just copy the settings here because I currently don't know. So for advanced, oh yeah, that was with non-uniform radius, but we 120 and 20 kilograms. And what we need to do, attribute delete, we will need to delete our ID attribute. So now our wires are set down. Oh wait, those are currently. Yep, I think I did both. Because, yes, set that here to right pin. Yes. Up, that's way better. And yeah, now we are simulating, basically. Just simulate that a little bit. Simulation. And of course, what you could do, you could disable gravity and so on. So that's fully up. That's looking fine. Let's simulate it a little bit further. And let's get a file cache. And what I want to do is to cache that out, of course. Let's just call it cache on iteration 001. And we'll just cache it out quickly. And after that, let's just change a little bit the input. To then get, yeah, maybe another cool iteration. So what we could do, let's do small, well, wait, let's copy that and let's do a smaller one. And let's do more wires, I don't know, 18. Something like that. And get another file cache. Oops. And let's save that out and have a look how that will look like. And after that, we can then play with our wires and give them thickness, sweep them, etc. So let's wait how that will simulate here. And of course, what you could do for the simulation, you could run a few substeps, fewer substeps, to basically get a quick look at your simulation, how that could turn out. So now those are finished and got a much stronger twisting here, which also looks pretty cool. But let's stick with that one. Let's move that a little bit more to the side. And what I want to do, I want to resample those now, but on a given or on a strict point count. Because when you don't do that, you will get resamples all the time. And then your primitives will shift, your mask will shift, and so on. Any other post work or post processing, what you will do on those lines will then shift or will fuck up. So let's do a quick isolation here on one line. and then do it for all. So I think like, I don't know, 400. 400 should be fine. And then I want to post smooth them. One iteration. And I want to recalculate the curve view, which is also important. Of course, for example, what you also can do, you could disable your gravity, or you can add forces. So I think I added, no. What you could do, you could add, for example, a wind force in here to give it a little bit of wind. Or a second twist force, you could also do that. Pop axis force. I think that would be also cool. So now we will delete everything except curfew and build up our wires. So attribute delete. I already got a preset here. Delete all. So you will type star into each and then accept curfew. So now we are left with our sim. What you also could do, you could swipe the groups. And now we are just left with position and our curfew, which is pretty nice. Now let's go for each connected piece and play with this. Color it in, I don't know, white. And we'll do 2 sweeps. And let's get started. Sweep on the round tube. And of course, let's just scale them so they will not intersect with each other. To a good amount of point. I don't know what I did here. Yeah, 16 for example. And I want only columns later, but let's just have a look here. I think that should be fine for, nope, just scale them a little bit more. For intersection, now it should be perfect. Wrapping. I really like the movement when those will like collide together and then start to wrap up. Okay, cool. Now we got our sweep. Cool. After the sweep, what I want to do is to change that to columns. And I want to place down another connectivity here and call that class_0. Oops, I deleted it. So class01. So now we have a class attribute on each column basically, or on each separated line here. And we can use that later for shading. And another sweep. And let's do the same here with, of course you can also plug in a custom geometry if you want. I think that also really cool. I did that recently for client work. And now what I want to do, on the first sweep, I want to activate the full twists. And now you basically got your rope. How easy is that? Of course you can then play with partial twist, you can animate it, you could roll it. I think that looks also pretty cool if you just got a single wire here with a nice soft or hard light and then animate it like that. Could be also cool. Yeah, your twists, you could look up on references on how steel ropes or steel wires, how many twists they got per meter, etc. But yeah, I just eyeball that in that scenario. So we could use some more points. Let's go. Oh, that would be too much. Yes, that's fine. And now let's, those should not also intersect. Scale them a little bit more down. Like that. Yes. Nice. Okay. It's nice, nice. So we got that. That's the beauty of the for each. Of course, you can, I think you could also do it without a for each. Yeah. But sometimes, no, stop, no, it's a, yeah. But sometimes what I do, I then use like the for each to build it up with iterations, with seeds, with the meta data, etc. But of course, in that case, you don't need it, and I think it will also slow you down, but I will just keep it. So we got now, what we got is our class attribute here, which is pretty cool because we could use that for shading. So what we can do, let's get a WOP here, an attribute WOP. And what I want to do, we don't need those two, you could just delete them. I want to bind, so I want to import in our attribute WOP, I want to import the class underscore 01. I think that was the name. Yes. On our points. And what I want to do, I want to get a trigonomic function. Trigonomic functions. No, that was the wrong one. Trigonomic functions. And I want to bind export, so I want to export this newly calculated attribute back again on our points as mask. So let's jump out and visualize mask. If you don't have it, just click here on mask and it will create a visualizer automatically for you. And now we've got cool shading. And the cool thing is we could play with the frequency here. We could play with the offset. So that's also like a nice thing to do. We could play with the formulas here, so arc cosine, arcsine, arctangent. You could also use the ramps, by the way. That should also work. Yes. You can also use you could also use them. So you can basically use both. And I think you can come up with some pretty nice shading ideas here. Let's just leave it like that with the ramps. Of course, don't need a blur. And after that, yeah, just place down a material node. Material. And we will do that with Redshift. Of course, you can do it with also with Octane, etc. And I mentioned it in the beginning. We can also do in the future some Octane rendering. So I'm not like extremely super familiar with Octane, but I think it's sometimes a nice thing to have for quick iterational style frames. But yeah, we got our RSMAT, and I already created a material network. I think you already know those two. And let's get another material Octane RS material builder. And let's call it RSMAT. wires. Call it steel, but they could also be out of candy, so we will just call it wires. Perfect. Now let's jump back in here. Let's quickly get those in here. So our material is already connected. And we've got our out node here. Let's get the background. So what I did here, a really simple background. It's further away from our rendering, so we don't get any light spill from the background light on our wires. And it's just basically a grid. It's a little bit bended, subdivided, and it got material on it. So that's basically all for that. And if you want to look at lighting setups, you can check out, of course, photography tutorials, product photography. I think they mostly teach the best light setups. Yeah. And of course, there are a lot of lighting tutorials on YouTube. But now let's do a little own light setup. So first of all, what I want to do, I want to create a camera. Let's call the camera close up wires _01. And what I want to do, of course, depth of field. Let's get a bokeh image. Want that, I think that's my most used. And now we can start on a, I don't know, I want for that. Oh wait, is that my camera? Oh, it's my camera. No, I forgot. Let's go on this. Let's go on a 6:4:5 aspect ratio, so that would be like an older medium format aspect ratio. So 6000 by 4500, and let's go for multiplier. Go, I don't know, 3. And then a longer focal length, product photography. Of course, you can also do product photography with ultra fisheye or wide angle lenses. But usually you do it with a longer focal length. So let's get a nice framing here. I don't know, maybe something like that. So we will use our edges of the frame to introduce our wires. And of course we can then do multiple. Oh, I love that one. 2. Okay, that should be fine. Let's tackle that later. Then we need lights. So simple, basically 3-point light setup. Or light. And for example, for the background, I choose blue. Of course, we can also, let's just set that on white. So we'll need a few lights. So that will be RS light. That would be our background light. So background light number 1. Of course, you can also have multiple background lights. That will be our top light. And that will be our, I don't know, fill light, for example. For the background light, it's also free here. Okay, perfect. For the background light, let's go with that first. You could, for example, place it on the bottom. Let's make it a little bit longer. And let's have a look. And let's focus. And deactivate those. And what I want to do, the depth of field is of course way too shallow. Yeah, that will work. So now we got our background light, and you can see a little bit of light spill here. So what you could do, you could just rotate a little bit, or you could play with the spread. I hope Octane will introduce spread or in the just to light it up a little bit. And let's go down with the spread. So we also will get a little bit of a gradient. Let's go for -2, and you also already can see a gradient. Of course, you can shift that gradient. And now that would be basically a pure white background. And now you can introduce a little bit of color, for example, blue, or maybe a more subtle brownish color, I don't know. I like blue. In that case. I'm not a huge blue fan, but that's of course now personal preference. But let's go with something like this brownish color. Or let's go with a more orange. Let's go with something like that. Of course, increase the roughness a bit more. And the background light, of course you can play with it now. That's a cool thing. Heavily extended. Something like that. And now let's introduce another light. I will use a texture for that. Go texture folder. No, not G. But textures. I purchased that a while ago from Grayscale Gorillas, and it's pretty good. Of course, you can also make your own gobos, but it's just to break up the light a little bit. Okay. Let's make that on, or turn it on. And it could be our main light here for that kind of example. Let's make it a disk, and what I want to do, I want to stretch it a little bit. To get, a pretty, not really hard light, but hard light would be something like that. Like, let's just dive into the light. Oh my god. Which one? Light top. Light top. Let's look like 1,000 times. Something like that would be Let's also get the fill light in. And let's use, of course you don't need a fill light. That's all really subjective, and do your own lighting how you want to do. I got now double ring. What the fuck? Wait, let me just. What? I don't know why. Are those two lights? No, that's one light. Okay, funny. So let's get another disc here. And let's make it really, really soft and big. So let's go down. Focus the light a little bit more, and let's go for minus exposure compensation. I don't know, 4. Yeah, let's go minus 3.5 maybe. Should be fine. And after that, I think we need to rescale. Just a tiny little bit. Yeah, that's better. Cool. Let's now just copy that again and make it like neutral, so white. Everything grayish, and jump in our tool here. And I want our color user data. And what I want is the mask. Now the cool thing is we can ramp that shit. Let's refresh the viewport. And now what we could do is, I don't know, yeah, orange to blue. For example, I don't know, and that would look like a rope. Of course, you could shift them. You can play with the presets. I think the presets are sometimes pretty nice to use just to get like a quick like a quick ramp on there. The two-tone looks like really playful. That looks also pretty cool. And yeah, you could make them out of metal. You could do something out of glass. That's fully up to you. Let's use metal at that point. And I don't want them too shiny. I think we need to get our main light a little bit further down. -3, for example. And you could leave it like that. What you also can do, what I like, is to play with another kind of fill light, sorry. For example, we will go on here, like to orange. Let's really heavily desaturate that, so that could be something like copper. But I think copper is a little bit more reddish. Not a copper specialist, but that would be something like copper, I think. And what we then could do, we could heavily reduce our background, and then the fill light we could multiply with red, for example. Or with another kind of color with a bluish tone. I think bluish works pretty nice because it's complementary. And we could boost that a little bit up, -6, to get like a grayish background, or you could then get a bluish background. Nah, I don't like that. And then the cool thing is, what you also can do, you can use different, of course you can render out a animation, but you then can use different time frames for your wires, so something like that, and render that out. I think that's also pretty cool to do. I want a nice background color. Just find one. Something greenish would be cool, but I think blue or then something reddish to complement, to then get a complementary color of blue would be nice. Boost it a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Could work. And you know, just press your little render button and it will render the image out for you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next Patreon tutorial. So take care, do your Houdini stuff, and if you post it, just tag me on Instagram, Twitter, etc., so I can repost it and write something for you. I don't know. So have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.